McCollum, a three-pointer. CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum.
When did you know that you were going to make it to the NBA?
My junior season, I told my dad I was going to score 50 that night, and my career high was 18, so he was laughing. He thought it was a joke.
The Duke game, you're a senior.
This was my moment on the big stage to kind of show that I either belonged or show that I didn't belong. I'm not 6'5", I wasn't 200 pounds, so I was like, I need to be able to score better than everybody.
What would surprise people about life in the NBA? Hey family, it's Carlos Watson. Got a great episode for you. Working with my friends at Chevrolet to do a special called Real Talk, Real Change, all about change, systemic racism, and how do we get to a better place. It's a wonderful special, got a delicious highlight straight ahead. But first, got a young fella who may be the next Steph Curry. You know who I'm talking about. Portland Trailblazer star CJ McCollum, small-town Ohio kid, making it big, shooting the lights out. You're gonna love what he has to say. Hey, CJ, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Where are you right now?
I'm home in Oregon.
Does that feel like the right thing to say still these days? Or, because I was born in Cleveland, and I know you're not quite Cleveland, Canton, but does that feel normal to say Oregon home?
It's weird, like, having been here for so long, I'm telling people that, like, I'm born and raised here, but I live here.
With the 10th pick in the NBA draft, the Portland Trailblazers select CJ McCollum from Lehigh University.
McCollum, a three-pointer. Bang! CJ McCollum from downtown. Drives, pulls up, puts it in. Young NBA life, McCollum for three.
Another steal for Portland. CJ pull up three. CJ with the thievery.
Look at the speed, though. Look at the speed from CJ.
He is dialed in tonight.
CJ McCollum swing, stepping back, firing, beat the buzzer.
So you and Dame were kind of building an empire in Portland, huh?
Yeah, man.
That drive from Dame and then the pass over the shoulder to CJ. These two have just such a special, unique bond.
I really enjoy my time here. I like it a lot. The fans are great to us. I got a dog. I got married, so I'm here until they don't want me anymore.
Step back three-pointer, CJ McCollum.
CJ comes to it. Step back out of the corner. Deep two.
When did you know that you were going to make it to the NBA? Because you weren't highly recruited out of high school. Am I making that up?
No, you're right. I was lightly recruited. I basically solicited, reached out to universities, reached out to head coaches. My brother was writing letters and sending film on my behalf. Luckily, Lehigh University found me. The associate head coach at the time was kind of searching on like Scouting Ohio, searching some of the websites on my hometown. And my first career start, I actually broke the school record to hit 8 threes. So he just sent me a letter like randomly, like inquiring about me because I was like on the front of the website. And that was literally my first start. Nobody was recruiting me before that. And that's how they began to recruit me.
Did you believe in your heart at that point? Like if I had met you, did you think you were going to play not just college basketball or the pros? Or that kind of thought process didn't come till later? Like when did you, not just think, because I know anyone who takes it seriously will always hope, but when did you start to think like, you know, I'm a real pro prospect?
If you would have asked me my freshman year in high school, like I would have told you that I was going to the NBA, even though I wasn't necessarily sure. But my junior season, I told my dad I was going to score 50 that night, and my career high was 18, so he was laughing. He thought it was a joke. And then I went and scored 54. And after that game, I thought to myself, like, if I can continue to get better, like the way I've improved, I can go to the NBA. I just had to figure out how to get a scholarship. And then I knew from there, once I committed to Lehigh, I told people all the time, well, I'm going to be the first person to go pro from Lehigh. That's why I'm coming here. Like it's meant to be, and it has to happen to somebody, and I'm gonna make sure that it happens to me. And that's what I told my teammates my freshman year. They were laughing. They thought it was a joke.
McCollum leaps. Lands. Necessarily have to shoot it unless he's wide open. How about that? With the ball and the lead.
The Duke game, you're a senior. Duke comes in highly rated, NCAA Tournament. You're at Lehigh, which is not an elite basketball program, and you lead your team to an upset. If you guys had not beaten Duke, do you think you still would have been drafted and you still would have had a career in the NBA? Or do you think that Duke game was the thing, along with all the other work you did, that caused people to say, this guy can play in the NBA?
I think that was the icing on the cake. I think the casual fan had no idea who I was. The scouts, they had been coming to games. They were kind of aware of me. This was my moment on the big stage to kind of show that I either belonged or show that I didn't belong. So I think if I play well and we lose, I'm still known because I would have played well on a team that was inferior. You talk about a talent difference, a huge talent difference. I put that pressure on myself to perform at a high level. I knew that was my chance to solidify, like, I'm an NBA player. I'm so good. I can make teams that aren't very good compete against the best. And I think I was fortunate to play well for us to win. And that was my staple. That was my signature college win. And one of the things I said I would do when I went to college was I said I would go to the tournament and get a signature win. Because when you do that, the Steph Curry effect.
I still remember that. I thought that was a big time signature win. That's a good comparison with Steph Curry. That was a good moment in time and moment to shine.
It's still the night shift, just brighter. Still a night out, but everything fits in. Chevrolet, making life's journey just better.
Why did you make it, though? Because I'm endlessly fascinated by the fact that if you stood in line, there always were people who were taller than you, who maybe could jump higher than you. And so what is the difference? Is there something that the average viewer or average fan like me doesn't know?
It's a combination of things. And first and foremost, God. I was fortunate enough to have faith, to believe, and to get help. I didn't just become a great basketball player on my own. I had help. I had the right influences around me. My big brother played a huge, huge role. I followed him. I modeled my life after him from a work ethic standpoint. I mimicked everything he did, to my mom and dad really being on me about the importance of academics, the importance of dedication and focus, and how regardless of what you want to become, you have to work harder than everybody else. And I think it's just a combination of a lot of things falling in place. I got lucky, but I was also ready when my time came. I didn't just speak this into existence and did not go work for it. Like I verbalized what I wanted to accomplish, and then I went and did it every day. And I went more consistent than everybody else. Like I was up early, 6 a.m. If I had class at 8, I was at 6 a.m. I was working out. If school ended at 3, I was working out at 3:15 or 3:30. If practice didn't start till 5, I was shooting at 4 and I was shooting at 8 when practice was over. My brother and my dad, they used to tell me, like, you have to separate yourself from everybody else. You have to be able to do something better than everybody else. I'm not 6'5". I wasn't 200 pounds. Vertical was above average. So I was like, I need to be able to score better than everybody. And that's what I relied on, scoring, being able to create a shot at every level, being able to dribble and not worry about the guy in front of me. Those are the things I really worked on. And I was elite at it at 5'11".
What would surprise people about life in the NBA? I look at it from the outside, other people look at it from the outside. Maybe what even surprised you? What 2 or 3 things would surprise people about life in the NBA?
It can be boring. You have this idea of what life is like as a professional athlete. You see the movies, you see everything, you hear about it. You read the stories about things that go well for people and things that don't go well, and then you're just thrown into it, right? There's no manual on how to maneuver as a professional athlete. You just have to become one, and then you figure it out. You have so much idle time. You have to figure out how to step away from your sport, whatever that is. You have to be able to step away from it, but it needs to be a healthy habit. The downtime is something I wasn't aware of. You fly to a city, you might practice, you might not, at the rest of the day. In a normal world where the city's not locked down, you can land in the city at 1 o'clock and it's just see you tomorrow at 9.
So in those moments, Kobe, may he rest in peace, is the difference that he would actually go to the gym right away and practice even longer than the other guys? Or was that not the difference? Because I feel like I've heard people say similar stuff, that they found themselves bored. Some people used to go to the mall, some people would play video games, and that they thought that Kobe, the difference was that when he got bored, he went and practiced more. Was that true?
Yeah, I think the difference between Kobe and a lot of athletes in general is his mindset and his mentality. He never got bored with the process. He might have idle time and he would go do something sports related. You know what I mean? Whether that's watching film or I've heard stories of him working on the same move. He would shoot right shoulder fadeaway for 2 hours. That, you know how tedious that is to do the same thing over and over for 2 hours? He was so focused, so intent on being successful, he would do whatever it takes.
I love that. All right, so who are the best right now? For your money, when you're talking to your older brother, Eric, so it's just you and Eric talking, and he says, all right, who's your starting 5 in the NBA? Who do you tell him? Who are the best 5 right now?
That's a tough question. LeBron's arguably the best player to ever walk on a basketball court. You want all positions, or you just want players in general?
I want you to put together your team. You're not the general manager. You're the owner. You're CJ McCollum, the owner of the team, and this is your money.
Wow.
We're reaching in your pocket.
Okay.
Who's on your team?
I go Bron, KD, Kawhi, Dame, Steph.
Take me forward 10 years from now. Where do you expect to be?
39. I'll probably be on the doorstep of retirement, if not retired. Having played 18 years in the league, I'll have accomplished a lot on the court. I'll probably have a 9-year-old, 8-year-old, maybe both.
Okay.
Continue to keep my journalism initiatives alive, CJ's Press Pass. Continue to work with the Boys and Girls Clubs and building dream centers for the underserved youth with an emphasis on education, with an emphasis on coding. I'm sure coding will be next level in 10 years. I'll probably have written a book. Definitely will be a staple in the real estate game as well as franchising. And I'll probably have 2 more dogs.
You're a newly married man. What's the most interesting thing you've learned about love?
I think love is a choice. You fall in love, but you choose to love daily. Growing up, you see people get married, you don't really understand what it means. You don't understand what goes into it. But I think you choose to love and care for someone and look out for someone on a day-to-day basis. I think that's what I'm learning. And when you're married, you're responsible for people's feelings. Up to that point, you're kind of responsible for yourself. Now you're literally responsible for someone else's feelings as well.
All right, I want to do a little rapid fire with you. Your favorite book?
I'll give you a couple.
Okay.
Love Does, Bob Goff. Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell. And The Obstacle is the Way, Ryan Holiday.
That's nice. That's a nice trio. All right, where's the coolest place you've ever been?
Italy is just so special. Different parts of Italy. The wine country is beautiful. The food. I like Europe, so Italy, Spain, those types of places are great. The most beautiful, I would say, is Greece. Santorini is phenomenal.
All right, what's your karaoke song?
I should ask my wife. I think she'll say, "Hot in here. It's getting hot in here so hot."
It's getting hot in here, so hot. So take off all your clothes.
I like that. That's good. That's good. Your favorite TV series?
Breaking Bad. I love Power. Recently, Queen's Gambit was really good.
Who would you love to have dinner with?
Definitely Jesus. If I can get a table of a few, Jay-Z, Obama, and Mike. That's a good group of people that I would like to brainstorm with and just have discussions and storytelling and absorb so many different things. And I think that combination of 3 gives it to you. You can get it layman's terms. You get the long-winded version, the short-winded version in a way in which you'll really understand and absorb it, which is important.
The celebrity you met that got you most excited when you met them?
Michael Jordan. And I go up to him to introduce myself, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm CJ." He's like, "I know who you are." At that moment, I don't go to that wow mode. But at that moment, I looked at my now wife, and I was like, Mike knew who I was. I used to stand in line for his shoes. You know what I mean? I was like, I used to stand in line for his shoes, and he knows who I am.
I love that. Hey, thank you for doing this.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed meeting CJ McCollum. What an interesting young guy, big, bright thinker, lucky enough to have wonderful parents, but also what a tough mindset. One of the interesting things is that both Baker Mayfield, the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns that we had early in our first season, and CJ McCollum, both were basically 5 feet tall when they started high school, but still in their own minds thought they were going to make it to the pros, and lo and behold, both did it. Wonderful stories, lots to learn from both of them. I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, right now I'm going to turn our attention to something a little bit different. We're doing a wonderful program with my friends at Chevrolet. We call it Real Talk, Real Change. And we talked about the question of the American dream. Is it still viable? Has it changed? Has it splintered? Where do we go from here? We invited some of the most interesting people to weigh in on it. Jalen Rose, Eddie Glaw Jr., Ida Rodriguez, John Kasich, Angela Duckworth, Megan Kelly, Jasmine Davis, and more. If you missed it, you're definitely going to want to see the whole thing. But right now, guess what? I'm going to show you one of my favorite moments. Welcome back to our special series, Real Talk, Real Change. Now we're talking about the American dream. 2020 has forced a lot of us to face who we are and what we expect out of this country. And so the question is, can we have this conversation? Has 2020 been transformative enough that enough people can have this conversation? Or is, as important as this conversation is it going to be a hard one to have across political lines, across racial lines, across even generational lines?
Well, we have to have the conversation because the country's broken. And part of what we have to do is to figure out how we're going to respond to the fact that it's broken. And part of what I've been arguing is that American Dream Talk keeps us in the frame, that it's the shining city on the hill, that we are a Redeemer nation, that we are an example of democracy achieved. That's the story we tell ourselves in order to protect our innocence. We have to grow up as a country. And we have to embrace the fact that the demographic shifts of America make it such that the idea of this country as a white nation in the vein of old Europe is dead. That's gone.
Eddie, let me push you and interrupt you. I think that for a lot of people, they will say, I don't have to grow up, or at least I don't want to grow up and I don't have to in the ways that you're suggesting that we should. How do you think about that? Because I think that is going to be a deep and real challenge to get lots of different people at the table and not just to have people who all agree be in the conversation.
Absolutely. I get that. What Governor Kasich said is right. People are suffering in the United States across the board. But you're gonna have to break through the fantasy so that we can talk about that suffering for real. The country is broken, Carlos, and it's broken for all of us, Doc. It is a frame that we have to break because it has proven itself bankrupt, not only for black and brown people, but for working white folks as well. So we gotta just tell the truth so we can then begin to talk honestly across these divides.
I'm so proud of what we did with our first installment of Real Talk, Real Change and our partnership with Chevrolet. I hope you enjoyed it too. Hope you found it valuable. If you want to see more of that show, head on over to our YouTube channel, the Carlos Watson Show YouTube channel. You can catch the whole thing. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you again next time.